Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming and the last update for the Lightning Strike Raider on the channel, because I've got my Atlas clear now, I've got all my Voidstones, I've done most of the invitations, so I've got really what I wanted this character to do, which was clear my Atlas and get in a position to then level a new character so that that's then free to farm whatever content it wants. It's got the majority of the Atlas points, it's got all the Voidstones, and it's got a good chunk of currency to get some gear going. So I'll just run through the gear first. I've been through the gear on the last video. There's a couple of things that have changed just to allow me to fit in Defiance Banner. But the goal of this build for me was to not use any really mega expensive items other than a claw, because it's very difficult to get a claw without paying a lot of money for it or crafting it yourself. So I wanted to avoid using a Blizzard Crown or an Enchanted Helm, which I've done. Didn't want to use any Awakened Gems. And I didn't want to really use like the Mark of the Elder unique combo, because I wanted both my rings to give me the Chaos Resistance to cap me. So pretty much it's all rares on the build other than a Lethal Pride Jewel. I'll go through all of the gear anyway. I know in the last video I went through the majority of it. The only item that's changed is the amulet and the helmet. So what I wanted to do, since I wasn't needing to use a +3 pierce helmet because I was getting pierce from a craft on the helmet and implicit on gloves, I thought I might as well go and get something with mana reservation so that I can fit in Defiance Banner. So this is just an evasion base. I think I paid 20c for it. And then I've rolled the helmet with Scorn Essences. to get back the chance of avoid being stunned, because that has drastically improved the survivability of the build, not being able to be stunned. I'm very rarely dying in maps or boss fights or anything, because when you don't get stunned, you can keep hitting. So you get all your life on hitting your leech. So unless you get one shot, you're probably not going to die. So this helmet is very similar to the last one. I just wanted life and +1 pierce crafted on. That's all I needed. It turned out I got lightning resistance, which is nice. The other two things are pretty garbage. Well, rarity, you never know. But yeah, I don't think it does very much. I was rolling for reduced mana cost of attacks, which I got. Now, I was actually also rolling for physical taken as any of the elementals, but I got increased mana reservation. That's quite a rare one, so I kept it. I probably would rather have physical taken as elemental, because I think my mana's still going to be fine without this implicit, but it's too good to roll over, because this item will probably sell for a bit now with the enchant and the implicits on the helmet. The claw I've had in the last video, it was a fractured base that I picked up fairly cheap because it's a noble claw and it's a fairly low fractured attack speed. And then I crafted this with deafening essences of wrath until I got another big elemental damage, and then either crit and chance to craft pen, or mods that I could remove. And it turned out the two mods on the item were non-attack mods. So I could just do cannot roll attack mods, annul, and then get those items off, and then multi-mod it. So it's quite expensive. I would think it's probably like 6 to 7 divines to craft a claw, but to buy one similar was way more expensive. And that's really the only big item on the build in terms of cost. Everything else is just rares that I've rolled myself with essences. So the amulet's changed from last time, but it's pretty similar, to be honest. I just wanted some attacks, some attributes. I got it, got a big life roll, and then crafted LE damage with attacks. Both the chaos resistance rings were rolled with elemental attack essences. I've still got a little bit to catalyst up on this one, but it's not that much of a big deal. And this is just, again, crafted life, resistances, and some flat damage. And the other is the same. It's got a bit of accuracy, resistances, lightning damage, and again, life. The body armor, I've had this since day one of trade in terms of when I migrated over. This is one I migrated over from SSF. So I just kept the item. It had really good life and resistances. Finally got Gravicious unlocked, so I've put Fizz taking us fire and lightning on the chest, just to give us more physical damage taken from hits in terms of the max that we can take. And then I finally rolled some decent implicits on it. I had increased effect of non-cursorers anyway, and then I've just rolled determination effect. I was essentially looking for determination or anger. Whatever one turned up first, I was going to keep. The gloves, again, haven't changed. These were brought over from trade. All I did was elevate them to +2, which cost about 2 divines to do it. It's just, again, loads of life and resistances. Stygian Vise is, again, just big life, resistances, and then elemental damage with attacks crafted on. I could technically recraft this to get 33%, which I should probably do, but it doesn't make that much difference. And then the jewel is just a triple damage jewel with a bit of fire resistance. The shield I've had since day one on my SSF playthrough. It was just crafted in Harvest. I doubt this would be expensive. It's just elemental ailments, resistances, and crafted life. And then the boots were a fractured pair I bought very cheap for 19C. And then I've just again rolled the cannot be stunned essences on it until I got something decent. I've rolled brittle ground on them because I don't crit cap. So this is actually really handy on bosses. And then the other one, there isn't really much good you can get on the other one. So I had a few icons left. So I just rolled, ended up with chance to avoid bleeding. It's not the worst. I've just kept it. You can get elusive effects, but it's really, really rare. I didn't want to go spending like, 100, 150 of this currency just to get that. So I've just left that as it is, because I want to save as much currency as I can for my next build, which is the reason I haven't gone like, I could get a minus resistance helmet and I could go and get or a blizzard crown. I don't want to go spending like 10, 20, 30 divines on items. I've spent, I would think, to get this character geared, because I've crafted it myself, 12 divines probably. And it's, as you can see from the footage, it comfortably does everything that I need the build to do. Only invitation I haven't done is the feared, and I don't plan to, just because I'll do that naturally as it comes. I don't want to go paying whatever the cost is to get all of the bits together to do it, just to get one favorite slot unlocked. I will do it at some point. I just don't want to go spending all of my remaining currency just to unlock the feared. So if we check out my currency tab, I've got 3 divines, 142C. I've got a few bits I could sell. I've got a couple of Tujan logbooks that sell, but I want to keep them for later. I've essentially got a lot of stuff I can sell, but I don't know what I want to do in terms of what content I want to run. So I've just kept it for now. Once I make a decision, I can then, if I decide I don't want to go expedition, I can sell the logbooks. I've got loads of essences I can sell. I've got loads of scarabs. I've got some invitations, but I'm not sure what I want to do yet. So I don't want to go selling stuff and then have to buy it back at probably a premium. And in terms of how I've made the currency, it's been really, really straightforward. I've literally just been doing essences, expedition, and harvest. Now, I haven't actually sold any of my harvest currency yet because I want to save 5,000 of the yellow currency so I can do a craft on my claw. So if we go over, I'm nearly down 4,500 of the yellow life force, nearly 5 of the purple, and nearly 6 of the blue. And if we go into trade, the reason I'm doing it, a lot of videos have brought out saying harvest is really, really bad, don't do it. It's not the best because you can't guarantee it. So some maps you'll walk away with no money because there wasn't a harvest. But when you get a harvest, you're going to get around 8 to 15 chaos worth of life force every time you do a harvest. And to me, that's worth it. It's like an addition to the map. If it turns up, great. If not, you've got your altars that you farm and you've got potential for expedition, or you can use an expedition scarab to make sure it turns up. But I haven't been using any scarabs or anything. I've just been putting sextants on whatever Voidstones I had. Been doing essence on the map device for 2C. And that's it. That's my investment in the map, other than alking the map and running it. So if we go in here and trade, we'll have a look at the cost of the life force, because I haven't actually checked for a couple of days, and I don't want to go lying to you if it's dropped massively. So we'll just clear that. I think it's in exotic currency. I know it is. So if we just check like the purple one, for example, let's say I have chaos and I want to buy 4,000 of the purple life force. We go in and yeah, it's going to be over 100C for that. So that would make it about 10C for 40 life force. And you easily walk out with around 400 to 600, sometimes even more if you get like a tier 4 seed in a map. So to me, it's just free money. The harvest monsters are really easy now compared to what they were before. I haven't died to any harvest encounters yet since I've been playing. It just feels really good. Like the enemies do less damage. They have less life. And when the patch eventually comes in the next few days that nerfs some of the Arch Nemesis mods down, then it's going to be even easier. So don't dismiss it just because, yeah, harvest has taken it. It has been a bit gutted, but there are still crafts that people are going to want to do. So if we go in Horta Crafting Station and scroll down to the bottom, there are some crafts that people are going to want to do to try and gamble to get good items. So if we go right to the bottom, we've got this one here is going to be really popular. And it's only going to get more and more popular as people want to fracture better items. You essentially need 1 of the life force that comes from a Shabi and then 10,000 of the purple life force. And you can fracture an item with at least 4 modifiers. If you get lucky on the fracture, your item could be worth like 15 divines. So it's something that I can see a lot of people doing as a gamble. So if anything, I think the life force essence of harvest is going to go up because not many people are doing it. So I'm going to definitely keep harvest on there. I'm going to keep expedition. It's just really good money. Same with essences. I've kept strong boxes on there as well. Just because you might get an operative one. You never know. And then it's, yeah, harvest, expedition, blocking everything else other than harvest and expedition, and then taking essence on the map device. Now, I did try Eldritch Gaze and Wrath of the Cosmos, and it's very good for the Eldritch currencies, but the issue is I still wanted to do expedition, and I still wanted to do harvest, and you probably leave these till the end. If I've then got 5 or 6 of the stacked buff on me, then the harvest monsters maybe hit a bit harder. Expedition gets a bit more difficult. They're doable, I just don't like dying all the time in maps. But it is amazing currency. When you get loads of altars turn up, and if you can get the Eldritch currency as your first altar from minions, you're going to make an absolute packet from the map. But you could go through and not get any altars at all. So I've just left them out for now. I've kept going exile just because they're the maps that I prefer to do. And then I'm just grinding all of these league mechanics with 2C on the map device every time. And it 100% pays for itself. I've got so many essences. I've got a shed load of essences. I bought some of these. So I probably only maybe would have 20, 25 of these. I bought a few before I started really farming the essences to craft my claw, and I didn't use them all. But like these, for example, here, when they're deafening, they go for 10C each. There's quite a few others that go for decent money. The chaos resistance ones, these go for like 4 or 5C in bulk. These would go with this amount, probably 6C in bulk. Greeds are pretty good. There's lots of essences that are worth money. You can also, if you want to, go to TFT and just bulk sell them to a trader for like a discount for convenience purposes, and then that person will then go and sell them all at the right price and make money. But if you just wanted to sell all of your essence tab, you can do it on TFT. Grimro brought a video out yesterday. I think it was showing how to do it, so I'll link it in the description. But that's all there is. I've not done any fancy currency making. I've not really done any stuff that should be particularly taxing for a build that can comfortably do sort of T16 maps, Conquerors, and the lower bosses. Anyone can do this, especially with Vile Lightning Strike. Works really well for essences because you'll always have your Vile Lightning Strikes up for essence monsters. You just drop your Lightning Strike, crack the essence monster open, and it dies within seconds. Even when they've got a lot of juicy mods on them, and it might be like 2, 3, or even 4 Arch Nemesis modifiers, I haven't had any that are really causing me any problems as long as I make sure I've got flash charges and lightning strike charges up. So defense-wise, because I've now added Defiance banner in, and I've got the determination effect, I get almost 17k armor and almost 13k evasion. And then I've also got that 12% physical taken as elemental, which helps even more in terms of relaying some of that physical damage over to elemental resistances, where I've got 75%. As I said, chaos resistance capped, stun immune, obviously armament immune as well, and then spell suppression capped also. So defensively, it feels really, really good. You could obviously, push it higher. You can maybe get more reservation on possibly a shield, get actual reservation on the helmet as well, and you could probably then add in grace when you take this node here. So you could take the grace reservation here, and then that would mean you've got your extra defensive auras, so you're still buffed up with your fairly decent armor value, but your evasion is going to be at a point where you're evading 80 to 85% of attacks, and that would feel a ton better. The other option would just be to replace this with an All's Uprising amulet, but they're really expensive for the ones that you would need on the build. I just don't feel it needs it for what I want to do. If I wanted to push Uber bosses, yes, I'd need to get certainly my DPS up a little bit more. And if I wanted to make it like a simulacrum farmer, I'd probably need to improve the character. But for everything else in the game, this can do it. So I don't really see a point of putting any more money into it. So the final POB for this character will be in the description. A new character is not going to come just yet. I want to farm for a day, get some currency up. I would like something around 10 divines for whatever the next character I do is. It's either going to be a trickster of some sort. I was looking at either maybe Spectral Shield Throw or possibly Blade Vortex. Or I might just go back to the trusty Deadeye Tornado Shot. And again, see if we can get that working on a reasonable budget. It's going to be harder with the changes to mana reservation and stuff. But I just love the skill, so I might give it a go to see if we can get just a full Ellie version of Tornado Shot working. That's it for this video. Really just wanted to overview how the character went, because I've been on and off the game for the last few days because I've been busy with real life stuff. So today was really the only time I had to get 4 or 5 hours in just to get my Atlas pretty much finished and get the Voidstones. And then I've just got 3 unique maps to do, which I will buy once my currency's up a bit. So this one will just buy the lower level one of that. There's no way I'm doing that horrible map on the tier 16. Acton's Nightmare, again, should be pretty cheap by now. And then Poor Joys is the other one I've got to do that's always fairly expensive. But Kirak might offer me that map. So what I'll probably do is buy Actons and then the horrible Strand one. And then I'll just wait until Kirak offers me Poor Joys. And then that will be my Atlas completed in terms of maps. And then I've just got a few invitations to do. But again, I don't really want to go buying the stuff. Other than the synth ones, I'll have to buy those maps because I'm very unlikely to get them to drop. But yeah, for the Feared and for the Breach Lords, I just want to do that naturally. So I'll just keep picking up Breach Splinters as they turn up in rewards. When I've got enough to get all the bosses done and get an invitation, then I'll do it. But I'm just going to do it naturally. I'm not going to go and buy the bits because, again, I don't really need the tiny little buff that it gives. It would be nice to get Cortex done so I can get my favorite completed, but I probably won't do that until I'm ready to do the Feared because it's part of that rotation anyway, so I can just sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That's it for the video. If anyone's got any ideas or any smart things that you've seen for the next build, let me know. It doesn't have to be unique or original. I'm not bothered if it's a build someone else has already done because I'm not the best at creating builds from scratch. So the tricks one I've got in mind, I've kind of gone to POE Ninja, looked at what people were doing for Spectral Shield Throw, made a few changes that I think suit the way I play. So I've got a POB ready for that character, and on pretty budget gear, it can get to sort of 1 to 2 million DPS fairly easy. So that might be an interesting one to see if we can get that working on a relatively small budget. I've also had a couple of decent bows drop fractured, which is why I was thinking of going either tornado shot or something like lightning arrow. Got this bow here that's got T2 projectile damage fractured, and then I've got one somewhere where I have 16% attack speed fractured, which is quite high for a bow. So that's the top of the tier 3 attack speed. So that is also a pretty decent bow to craft on. Obviously something like +1 arrows would have been amazing, which I have got somewhere. So I've got this quiver here. Pretty decent fire damage quiver with very nice resistances. Bows fire an additional arrow, and I can craft life. The base isn't ideal, but it gives something to like an LE bow build. So this could be a really nice quiver to go along with it as well. I've collected loads of like nice rings, boots, gloves. So I probably can gear this character out as is. And it probably won't cost you very much because I've been kind of collecting stuff as I go along. But that's it for this video. Hope everyone who followed the build is having fun. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to leave some comments in any YouTube video. I'll respond fairly quickly because I'll have it on my phone, on my PC, and don't tell anyone on my work PC. And then I can kind of respond as and when. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next video.